Good evening, my friends. This is the Grimflayer. Hope you're all doing very well tonight, and I hope you're less tired than I am, unless you're using my voice to lull you to sleep, in which case maybe being tired is fine. I'm exhausted right now. I'm so tired, but this is my only time I can feasibly play in the next few days, so I gotta do it. I hope it's a good one. And I hope you like it. We are playing a really cool donation league. It is Urolgari, if you will. A little bit of a play on words, a little bit of a pun for us. Uro in a mostly Golgari rock shell. Do you get it? Urolgari, kinda cool, right? Kinda funny, though. Kinda funny. Admittedly, looks a little bit better on paper than it sounds rolling off the tongue, but we'll take it, right? So this is exactly what you think it is. It is a blue rock deck. It is a mid-range deck. Most decks packing Uro are more on kind of the control side of the spectrum. If you have like a pure draw-go control deck at one pole of traditional fair decks in Modern, and you have like an aggressive, strict all-in mid-range deck like Jund or Rock on the other end of the pole. Most of the Uro decks, I think, are middle-ish, but leaning more toward control. We are definitely leaning more toward the mid-range side of things. We are splashing blue for Uro. Compare Uro to something like Tireless Tracker, and I think Uro's raw card quality is much higher. And this card's just kind of busted, right? I kind of hate it, but we're playing it today, and it's definitely going to be powerful in the shell, I think. And we're also leveraging Thought Scour, which fuels Uro, and also has synergies with Scavenging Ooze, Tarmogoyf, Drown in the Loch, especially if we target our opponents, and Snapcaster Mage. So all of the blue things play into each other, they all help each other be better, and they all are part of a coherent mid-range plan, and they also all have some varying levels of synergy with the green-black rock core. As for the core, we have basically all the usual suspects. And this is a donation league for one of the very best supporters, Alan Lambert, my guy. Awesome dude, really cool, really generous supporter. And he's the one who acquired and then subsequently lended to me these Uro. So Alan, my friend, thank you so much. Big round of applause, please, for our great supporter, Alan of the Vale. And he and I were basically, what happened is I told him he had qualified for a donation league this month. He then hit me back and said, have you played Sultai lately? And I said, nope, not really, because I don't have Uros, and I think you just kind of should be playing Uros if you're on Sultai. And I kind of, half expected him to say, okay, well, let's do this or that. And then he came back and said, how many Uros do we need? And how do we want to build a list? And he and I were both definitely thinking like this. We want to try like a blue rock style of build. And this is the list. So 23 lands. Alan and I both designed the land base kind of independently of each other once we'd agreed on the main deck spells. And we came up with the exact same thing, except he's got a second Shores, where I had a third Marsh. They're both viable, but upping our blue production that little bit more is better for turn 1 Thought Scours, but does make our Skoos and QB prospects just that little bit worse. I think they're both viable. You could go either way. We went with Alan's double Shores, double Marsh configuration. Another change that Alan made after I had kind of mostly brewed up this main deck 60 is he wanted the 4th Thought Scour in here, which I think is totally respectable. We replaced Abrupt Decay number 2 with that at his suggestion, and I think that's fine. I think more consistency is good, and 1 Decay is kind of stock in BGX anyway, 1 Decay at most. Finally, Snapcaster Mage can represent a second copy of Decay, or Trophy, or Drown in the Loch, or all the other usual stuff, and Snap Thought Scour is a good proactive turn 3 play, some of the time anyway. Otherwise, the main deck is pretty streamlined. It seems pretty powerful to me. I'm really happy with how we came up with this. We got 4 Thought Scour, 4 Push, 4 Inquisition, 2 Thoughtseize, 4 Tarmogoyf, 2 each of Skoos, Bob, and Snapcaster Mage. These are some really powerful cards. Flex removal is 2 Drown in the Loch, 2 Trophy, 1 Abrupt Decay. And at the top end, we have 2 copies of Questing Beast, which is one of Alan's favorite cards I know. I like it just fine too. I think it's one of the premier BGX curve toppers, especially if you're not in Jund colors. It's probably the premier 4-drop threat. And 3 copies of the namesake Uro. And finally, only 3 Liliana of the Vale. Partially because slots are at a premium, but partially because with the blue splash, with Uro drawing us a lot of cards, with Snapcaster being sometimes reactive, with Drown in the Loch being sometimes reactive, we are playing in a more full-handed manner than Jund or Rock, for example, will. So I think the 4th Liliana of the Veil is cuttable, and we have cut her here. Moving on to the sideboard, we've got a lot of familiar faces. 3 Fulminator, 2 Ashiok. 2 Brutality, 2 Plague Man, 2 Nihil Spellbomb, 2 Veil of Summer, and 2 Unmoored Ego. So I kind of came up with the sideboard that was just a little bit different. It had a 3rd Brutality, and it also had 2 copies of Disdainful Stroke where these egos are. So I sent it to Alan and said, hey man, what do you think about this number 1 and number 2 we need to cut? He said, cool, I like it, let's cut the 3rd Brutality, and let's also, what do you think about playing Unmoored Ego over Disdainful Stroke? And I said, yeah, we can mess with that. I don't know how to rate this card exactly. Seems like a decent shell for it, but I also think the extraction effects are a little bit lower value than they were at their peak, just because it seems like every combo deck has multiple win conditions these days, but it still should be an interesting card, and it does come in at least some of the matchups we'd want Disdainful Stroke for, and, you know, playing, like, Strict Permission is a little bit less of a free roll in this deck than it would be in other, more control-oriented Sultai builds. So I said, I think that's a really interesting change. Let's run with it. So without further ado, guys, let's get straight into a league, which I have already signed us up for. Play League match. So yeah, this one is for you, Alan. I hope you like it, my friend. I hope I play okay. I'm, again, pretty exhausted here. And just lately, I can't seem to get, like, a free... I can't seem to relax, basically. I'm working through the pandemic. A lot of other people are not working through the pandemic, so I'm experiencing an insane amount of demands on my time. Not trying to complain here, I'm just telling you part of why I'm so tired right now. And we are also, trying to keep on top of everything. I've got the family home 24/7, which before they were not, before the pandemic started, so my free time is ever dwindling, and it's been a little bit rough. So if I have some mental sloppiness here, I do apologize, but that is where we're at, and it's also later at night than I'm used to playing as well. So all things considered, I'm just going to try to play to a decent standard and show you this awesome brew. Urolgari, here we go. Join in match. Winning the die roll. And a reasonable keep. It's a reasonable keep. Really got to draw the 3rd land by turn 3 to make it good, and then it probably will be good. We've got to get Watery Grave off the Delta. We still cannot, though, cast Drown in the Loch, which is one reason it's not as good. If we could cast Drown in the Loch off of our lands, this would be great. So that's why I'm just a little bit medium on it, but just more incentive to draw that 3rd land. And we're against humans that mulliganed. Kitesail Freebooter, double Meddling Mage. I'm just going to take the Freebooter. There's no way they're going to name just about any card in our hand, I don't think. Especially Blind. Especially because we let on Polluted Delta Watery Grave, so they might think if we don't do anything, well, I guess if we don't draw anything good, we're going to show them Forest, right? Alright, we show them Swamp. Or rather, we draw Swamp. I don't expect Drown in the Loch to be live, but we'll play that just in case they, like, draw a 1-drop and decide to play that over Meddling Mage. And they might well name something totally incorrect, because we're just showing them Dimir right now. Don't really expect them to name Uro or anything like that, although that would really suck if they did, because that's our turn 3 play right now. That makes the most sense. Oh no, the bug is back. Oh god, really? They named Fatal Push, sure. Okay. We draw another trophy. These are fine. I'm going to play the Uro, though. We haven't really been clocked yet. We want to keep seeing other cards. I did a clean uninstall and reinstall of MTGO in the hopes of fixing this stupid bug. I'll have to do it in between rounds. Sorry, guys. I apologize for that. I can't believe it's happening right out of the gates. Alright, so we've just drawn another Uro off this Uro. And there's something we can kill with our Drown in the Loch. Uh-oh. Opponent found a freebooter? That's pretty bad. I mean, we still have outs, but it just, like, now we have to ramp them with trophy, and we also might not have a double spell turn depending on what we draw. But at least we have a handful of removal, right? It might be clunky, but we should be able to keep in the game. It's going to make their other Meddling Mage good, though, too. So that freebooter is a really good draw. Yeah, and Drown in the Loch is the correct take there, as far as I can tell. Inquisition. Inquisition's pretty good. It does let us double spell. Phantasmal Image, or Meddling Mage. Took the image there because no matter, like, we are going to trophy the freebooter in response to the Meddling Mage, and then they are left with choosing between either trophy or Drown in the Loch to name. I don't see a major difference here. Admittedly, if they have drawn another Meddling Mage or another freebooter or perhaps another Phantasmal Image, this could get ugly, but there's no real way around that, right? Well, this is a cool matchup to start things off. I always like it. I do wish our opponent's images were loading. Again, I apologize for that. You guys will have to let me know. Is there a good way to fix this bug? I have tried the clean uninstall and reinstall, like I said. It has made the program function a lot more smoothly for me, so that's a big, big upside. But they name Uro. Okay, so we're just going to get to cast all of our removal. That's interesting. I didn't expect that. What did they find as well? A Noble Hierarch, sure. Okay, they could have cast that painlessly, right? If they tapped the plains for the Meddler. But whatever. So a couple, one, two maybe questionable things there from our opponent. We can't punish him for it because we can't draw a fourth land to double spell, though. That really sucks. So we just kind of have to say go. Bob is a pretty bad draw when we're this far behind, too. Unsettled Mariner. Okay. And it can't be countered. So with that Cavern around, our Drown is pretty dead anyway. Ah, man, I guess we do just drown the champion in response. Yeah, just try to stay alive here. That's a really good draw for the opponent, given how land screwed we are, though. So just, like a big old Tarmogoyf at this point is probably our best draw. A green land for Questing Beast is pretty live. Scavenging Ooze, dude. Oh, brutal. Brutal. I would rather trade Bob with an attacker than Scooze. So I'm going to play Bob. But we're pretty dead. We're pretty dead. The opponent, and one reason, by the way, I drowned instead of trophied is, of course, it would make this Canopy land better that turn if we trophied. So opponent about to see 2 cards off the top, have 4 mana at least to work with. You gotta figure we're dead. Probably next turn, possibly this turn. They find Thalia's Lieutenant. Good enough for me. Okay. Well, that was annoying. We just never drew a 4th land. They drew some tax effects and a lot of disruption. That's a bad combination. I think the matchup is fine. I think Uro really helps, but it doesn't help when you just kind of get stuck on lands and you have a lot of mana-hungry stuff in hand. So Brutality and Plague Man are both great. And look at our 60. Our 60 is incredible. There's not even any good cuts to make. That's how good it is, besides these 2 Thoughtseizes. So Thoughtseize can go, and then we have to make 2 more cuts. We're going to be on the play, huh? I'll probably trim a Thought Scour, and I think I might trim a QB, just because, like, look at the rest of our deck. It's all really good. It's possible that we can trim, like, a Bob on the draw, but I think we want to leave both Bobs in on the play. Let's do it, guys. We can really, really beat humans with this 60. 3 lands, Inquisition, removal, Uro. Yeah, that's a keep. That is a keep if I've ever seen one. I think we're supposed to shock here. I don't think you should really get basic Swamp much for the purposes of planning to escape Uro. So, Overgrown Tomb, Inquisition, you. Ether Vial Champion. Well, they've got a perfect hand, too. They've got a really nice hand as well. I have to give this one some thought here. Taking Ether Vial is never the worst to slow them down. You know what? I think I am going to take the Vial. I think if we're just forcing them to play only 1 spell per turn, we've got a lot to like about our hand. If our hand had less value in it, I would probably have taken a piece of value out of their hand. Alright, so now we simply kill the champion. We've drawn the 4th land, so Uro is going to be escaped this game. Unless they're playing like Rest in Peace, which I really doubt they are. Unsettled Mariner. It's an annoyance. We've drawn QB, huh? It's getting painful. But yeah, that Mariner forces us. I was not planning to have to shock a 3rd time. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. Okay, it is a lieutenant. We're going to destroy this guy. Okay, our mana base really killing us so far this game. But we can make up for it with Uro. Ooh, opponent found another 1-drop. That's actually pretty scary no matter what it is. But we also know that they still have at least one... Yeah, we know both of the cards in their hand. And we've drawn Reflector Mage... Or, excuse me, we've drawn Inquisition. That's awkwardly timed. I think we're still supposed to play Uro here, because we could find an untapped land off of him, an untapped black land, and do both. And we also might incentivize them to hold the Reflector Mage if they see the escaped Uro coming next turn. Alright, we have done it. We found the land. It's another painful one. But at least with this one, we can afford to get basic swamp. Take that reflector. So they're in total top deck mode. We're back up to 15. And their board's not that scary. And we've got Uro and QB both waiting in the wings. So even if they top deck like Meddling Mage for Uro, which would really suck, we still get to go QB mode. Okay, we've drawn Watery Grave. I guess it is Uro time. Blue, blue, green. Green, they have creatures over there. There's no real way to avoid shrinking a future Goyf here. So we'll just leave a good Snapcaster target in there. And we're just hitting a ton of land drops, which is not perfect right now, but if you're going to hit them, you might as well hit them while you're with your Uro trigger, so you can get through some bad top decks and also just, like, get the ramp. Opponent found a Reflector Mage, though. Unbelievable. Okay. That's basically what they needed to stay in the game. Now, granted, again, QB is going to be a very good plan B. And this just means we'll get to cast Uro again in 2 turns, but that could be the start of some bad stuff, right, for us? Again, that's kind of necessary, but maybe not sufficient for the opponent to stay in the game. Remember that, like, we top deck really well, too. Post side, with this 60 against humans, we should be top decking pretty live. Nurturing Peatland, not so much. But I will crack it. Just finding another land. Okay, so QB's a huge roadblock to the opponent. They did not crack Waterlogged Grove on the end step. I think that was a misclick. I don't see why they would not have. They find Champion of the Parish. Not that big a deal. I'm taking any block I can here. I think it's going to be correct. As good as QB is, we can't take hits. So you hate to trade your 4-drop with their 2-drop, but that's where we're at. Okay, let's hope they don't have a Meddling Mage in hand for Uro. They don't. And we drew another Uro. Sure, I accept. Well, this is going to be the Uro show. I guess we're playing them both, huh? This Inquisition is likely to whiff, so I'm gonna wait on it. The main thing it could really hit is like a Dismember, and I think that's alive enough next turn that I just want to bluff with this turn. Like maybe if they have a Kitesail freebooter, they'll cast it now. Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, okay. We have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lands on the battlefield. We gotta find at some point something to assist Uro here. But Uro is kind of soloing the humans deck right now for the most part. Okay, there should be... Oh, there are no fetch lands to fetch. So we can get basic island. Or there are no shock lands to fetch. We can get basic island. And I guess we're supposed to before we draw it. And also to put more in the graveyard. There's the only fetchable left is a swamp. We've drawn Abrupt Decay. That's a pretty good one. Blue, green, blue, green. Oh, wait a minute. I don't want to exile the other Uro, do I? Yeah, probably not. So let's just decay the champion first. Green, blue, blue, green. Exile everything but the other Uro. This must be so frustrating right now for the opponent. Sure, I guess we'll play another land. Oof. That's an oof. But whatever. We can get our last fetchable with it, and really thin out the deck, and keep fueling the graveyard for more Uros, right? We are bricking pretty hard, though. Like, aside from having a couple Uros and the means to recur them and to play them in the first place, we're kind of not drawing all that much. Opponent with a Meddling Mage, sure. Interesting choice what to name here. We gotta remember they named the other Uro. Yeah, that makes sense. We got a lot of really good draws. Imagine drawing a Plague Engineer right now. Like, it feels like Uro's the only card in our deck, almost. Or the only major threat, but we've got a whole lot of bomb draws. Look at this. Pushes, Lilianas, Drown, Trophy, Brutality, Plague Man, blah 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 blah, Snapcaster Mage. Not that Snapcaster is good now, but you understand. Drown in the Loch. Alright. I'm going to begin with an attack on Uro. We can drown. Ooh, I should have Inquisition first. I didn't think for long enough about that. Okay. Now we can drown, snap, drown to really blow out an attempted multi-block. Alright, we're just gonna play reactively here. Couple good finds off the top. Drown, snap, drown. Real nice. They just pass. That shows you the power of Uro. Alright, now to show them the power of Drown in the Loch, let's begin by targeting Thalia to make our other ones cheaper. And I guess we'll hit the Meddling Mage here. Doesn't matter too much as far as I can tell. Okay, that's the game. Cool. Alright, that was a complete dumpstering despite us flooding a lot, because Uro is disgusting. Uro is OP. Uro is crazy. What else do you want me to say? Alright, so on the draw, I could see bringing... I don't think I want the second QB in the context of our deck. Like in other BGX shells, I'd leave both QBs in. Like if we had... little bit of a higher density of 1 mana removal. But I'm not that comfortable having both QBs in post side. I think I want to... If I want to cut it 1 bob for something, I think it's going to be the other Thought Scour. Why don't we do that? Seems good. Or seems at least reasonable. I think leaving in 2 bobs is definitely reasonable too, but you understand the incentive changing a little bit here on the draw. We've got a clunky hand. It doesn't interact that well early, but it's really strong value-wise. I hope to see the opponent mulligan. They don't mull. I don't think we can mull either. We'll keep it, and we'll hope to draw an early third land or fatal push or discard spell. Those are the draws we want to see. They lead on Hierarch. I really want the push. We don't get it. And this Creeping Tar Pit's killing us, because if we didn't have it, we could at least Thought Scour, seeing another card, maybe even filling up the opponent's graveyards to turn on our Drowns. As it is, this is a bit rough. Again, want to see the third land. Opponent curving out like crazy. Ooh, Hierarch Champion Meddling Mage. What do they name? Abrupt Decay. Okay, I mean, I get it, but that's not probably the correct name just because it's not that common to play that many copies of it, right? Alright, so I think we're supposed to Thought Scour main phase, and I think we're supposed to target the opponent, because we want our Drowns to be good next turn. And I'm going to do it main phase in case we draw an Inquisition, mostly, or a land that's somehow better to play. But let's do it. We've drawn Inquisition. What a call. What a call. Rewarded. And also going to make Drown even better. They have Mantis Rider, double Meddling Mage. I don't think they're that likely to name anything in our hand, so I'm going to take the Mantis Rider. Gonna plan probably to play Plague Engineer next turn, but we'll see what they do. Alright, that Thought Scour into Inquisition gave us a pretty decent shot here. They name Uro. Okay. They find Ether Vial. Okay. So it's going to be Plague Man time. Getting a kill on Hierarch. And shrinking the rest of the board to a manageable state. Unless maybe we draw a 1-mana spell. We don't. Alright. So it's going to be Plague Man. Let's use this to get Forest, I think is correct here. This is a pretty intense one. So now the opponent's got a problem. Like, they might name Meddling Mage and attack with only Champion. I might consider trading if they do that, but I might not at the same time. Oh, they found a 1-drop, really? That's a disaster. Oh, but yeah, it dies on impact to Plague Man, but they're just growing the Champion. Okay. I see. I don't know how necessary that was. Maybe they forgot about the Plague Man. Because the Champion's already going to outsize Plague Man this turn, you know what I mean? But we will see what they name and we will see how they attack, and that will inform our decision. They named Trophy. They have not named Fatal Push. That's our 4 of. Okay, so if we trade, we can then just double Drown next turn. That's got to be correct, right? This is a nice 2-for-1 with Plague Engineer in a spot where we're behind. Or a 3-for-1. I guess we can be satisfied with a 3-for-1, right? We've drawn Breeding Pool. Okay. So what do our lands look like? We want the ability to escape Uro. There could be an argument for playing Polluted Delta, but I think I'm just going to shock this in. 'Cause Oh no, oh no. Yeah, shoot. I talked my... Okay. I should not have shocked that in, and I'm just wrong about this because the forest cannot help cast Drown in the Loch. My bad, guys. I'm new to this mana base. Pretty annoying, but I just kind of punted. We couldn't have double drowned anyway, and I think the trade last turn is fine. The punt just simply comes from shocking in the breeding pool. And you know what? It does at least represent the Tar Pit block. I'm kind of tempted to block with Tar Pit just for a more mana-efficient turn, but that's got to be wrong. I'm just going to drown the one naming Uro here. So I hope we don't lose by 2 life. That would be very bad. Told you I was tired, right? Yeah, let's do it this way. Not used to playing with these newfangled Dimir cards. Opponent's probably like, what do they have that they shocked in? Nothing, we're just bad. Uro time. Uro time. And I think we're going to plan to get probably basic Swamp or basic Island off of Delta. So either way, tapping like this is fine. Yeah, I'm still going to go with the Drown this turn, but that could have let us play Liliana. Of course, we want to clear the board more fully, and then land the Uro, protect Lily with him. That's the game. All right, good enough for me. They must have been pretty much out of ideas. Okay. Cool. So that was a hard-fought one, but once we got Uro online, you saw how disgustingly inevitable it was. What else do you want? I mean, the card's gross. I will restart my client and be back for round 2. Alright, guys, we are back, and hopefully the bug has been fixed. We will see. We're here for round 2, having taken down humans in round 1. We'll keep this solid hand here. And we're against a snow-covered island deck. I think getting Watery Grave out probably gives us the most flexibility next turn, wouldn't you say? Let's do that. We should be able to afford the life in any of these snow-covered island matchups. Okay, Growth Spiral, Remand, Thought Scour. But they can't, it's Wilderness Wreck. They can't cast anything in their hand except Thought Scour and Remand right now. Guess we're just taking the Remand. Growth Spiral's really annoying. Their whole deck is extremely annoying. I absolutely I hate playing against it, but we're going to hope they don't hit lands, really. Especially green ones. They looks like they didn't quite yet. I think now's our chance to Tarmogoyf. They'll Thought Scour in response. Still no green that we know of. Our Drown in the Loch's going to be real live, though. I don't think it's terribly likely that a Thought Scour grows the Goyf. It's already a 4-5. I think we're just going to do nothing. But plan to Thought Scour on their end step. Okay, it would have grown the Goyf. He's now a 5-6. I'm going to do it again. 6-7. Okay. Not that we could have done it both. Not that we could have done both, you understand. Questing Beast is really tempting. But with permission in hand, we're probably supposed to hold it up for this Wilderness Wreck. Yeah, I think Goyf is good enough of a clock, but we would be presenting lethal next turn if we had played the QB. This also plays around them being really patient with permission, I guess, right? But really, we're just going to plan on drowning the Wilderness Wreck if they top deck it and tap out for it. And then we'd have lethal with QB anyway. If not, we can just do it over 2 turns with Goyf. That is the game. That was an easy one. I like it. I like it. I hope the other ones like it, because I really don't want to play against Wilderness Wreck. And I haven't played against it in forever. I don't know what their lists look like. Obviously, they want to hit their land drops, but they just showed us only basic lands, so Fulminator Mage might not be playable. I think I'll bring in Unmoored Ego. Hitting Wilderness Wreck seems fine. I get to look at their deck. I'm going to play Collective Brutality. I guess I'm playing Veil of Summer. I really don't know. I really don't know what their current structures are like more than that. I don't know if we should be on Ashiok or Spellbomb. So I think I'm going to sideboard pretty conservatively until I see otherwise. I don't know if we need Fatal Push for any special reason, but that's going to be what I cut here. If I wasn't so tired, I would maybe take the moment to look up a list. I don't even have my phone near me for once. So I guess I'm not. Could pull up a browser window, but let's not. Let's not. I'm just going to go in blind. What do you think? I'm going to cut 1 Uro. Seems like the matchup where the slow life gain based value is not really it. I'm cutting either the second QB or the second Uro here. I think I'll just cut the QB. When in doubt, I'm probably going to cut the second QB on this build. You know what? I'm going to play 1 Spellbomb. It replaces itself. I'll cut the second Uro for it. It's a fine hedge against many things they could be doing that I don't necessarily know they are doing. I don't know if Abrupt Decay is that live. Obviously, it doesn't hit Wilderness Wreck, and maybe doesn't hit other things they play. Again, we could be on Ashiok, but I think this is fine considering. And I think this is a fine enough keep considering. Tarmogoyf seems important here. We do have discard, admittedly it's slower discard. Opponent shocking in Breeding Pool. Ah, I smell Veil of Summer. We have them too. Or could have just been that Thought Scour. They play Icefang Quattle? Okay, see, these are things I don't know. I don't know about stuff like that, so. Thoughtseize A. So Thoughtseize is better against Remand, but it's a disaster against Veil of Summer because they 2-for-1 us and we have a mana inefficient turn. Collective Brutality is more mana efficient. And then you could just play Tarmogoyf too. It's a real tough call. It's a real tough call. I think there's merit to all 3 approaches. Think I'm going for the Goyf here. Thoughtseize and Brutality next turn is looking pretty tasty to me. The only problem, of course, again, would be Veil of Summer, but if they've been holding up Veil now for 2 turns in a row, that's kind of a win in its own right. Maybe they play something they tap out for. Hey, maybe they play Uro too. I have no idea. I have no idea what these decks look like right now. Remand. Well, we identified that as a possible line, and that playing around Remand would have made us want to Thoughtseize, but they might have other things too. Ooh, Veil of Summer. Yeah. Yeah, that's a card. So now we Thoughtseize. Okay, they do play Uro. Growth Spiral times 2 plus Wilderness Wreck. Gotta take Wilderness Wreck. I guess I'm just taking this chance to get my Goyf back down. We can Unmoored Ego away the Uro, which might be what we do. Growth Spiral is a crazy, crazy card. One of many cards that I just don't understand. Like, I don't understand them printing all these ramp cards, personally, that are just so value reasonable. The ramp that doesn't die to interaction, or die to removal, is rough, to say the least. It's real rough. Hopefully they cannot escape the Uro this turn. That would have been a crazy amount of land drops to hit. They're going to do something. They're going to cast another one? Tireless Tracker. Okay. Now we have a real dilemma. Do we ego the Uros, or do we Brutality the Tracker? I guess we gotta ego the Uros, right? They didn't have a land for Tracker this turn. They could have one next turn, but it's still more beatable value-wise than Uros, right? Sure. Graveyard, hand, and library. Yep. You are... Oh. Where are you? Okay. So get the one out of the yard. There's only 2 in the library. Their hand is Ashiok and Cryptic Command. That's a scary hand. What else is in this deck? Double Dismember, a Fact or Fiction, 3 total Cryptic, 3 total Archmage's Charm, 2 Ashiok, 3 total Ice Fang, 4 Mystic Sanctuary, 2 Veil of Summer. What a miserable matchup. I hope we just win this one. I don't want to play this one again. I don't want to play it again. Okay. I've never resolved Unmoored Ego before. I think I'm doing it correctly as far as the mechanics go. I seem to be. So, Ashiok Cryptic in the hand. Gotta remember. And we do have Veil of Summer. If they try anything fishy, like just main phase Cryptic bounce the Goyf maybe to try to hit a land drop, they don't need to. They just top deck a fetch land. Oof. Got Affection in response to this Ashiok. Don't want to get caught like that. And I think I'm shocking in the breeding pool. This might betray our Veil, but it could also mean any number of other things. I just think it's pretty much correct to do this, even if it doesn't play mind games quite as well. Gotta save Veil to compete over the Cryptic, and opponent has milled some things and some stuff. Thought Scour, a Goyf. The Thought Scour will throw them off of the trail of Veil of Summer, maybe. That's what we could be representing here. All right. Only question is, how do we want to kill the... no, it's got to be Trophy. They just crack clues and Brutality doesn't kill it. Okay, we're about to 1 mana Cryptic Command their 4 mana Cryptic Command. Feels good. Only question is, do we ignore this Ashiok? I think I'm attacking Ashiok here, but you could go either way. Ashiok does make Uro worse, and we have Uro as the floor for next turn if we don't have anything else to do. Opponent cracks 2 clues. Still has 5 land to operate with and 3 cards in hand. Thought Scour themselves. They're down to 24 cards in the library. Okay. I guess we're supposed to begin with an attack here. And then probably follow up with Collective Brutality. I'm tempted to drain with it, because we can force it through with Snap Veil, but if we're putting Snap on the field, we're putting Lethal on the field anyway, and Scoo seems like a fine card to have as a backup if things go south. So I'm going to just Duress, and we, again, can force this through with Snap Veil, or if it resolves, we can play Uro. I think we're supposed to go for Snap Veil here. If they have another piece of permission, that'll suck. But I think the upside is high enough that we should. That's the concession. What a dumpstering. What a dumpstering. And I'm not, not talking any smack to the OP here. And we seem to have fixed the bug, so I think it's more likely to stay fixed if I just go to the next game, because first game when we had the bug, I came straight from a fresh client. So, yeah, definitely no shade on the opponent. There's nothing they could have done differently. I think they played perfectly as far as I can tell. But, oh my god, Veil of Summer, disgusting card. I think Veil of Summer should have been never printed, but it should have been banned almost on site. Should have been DOA. Look at that. It's arguably even worse for the blue players than it is for the black players. Just disgusting. Like, why are we blowing out interactions so hard when we're printing overpowered threats? But this is a familiar refrain. I'll stop there. And hey, this time we veiled them out. But you can only imagine. I mean, the Humans player was probably tilted at us, just our inevitability with Uro. And I think both post-side games we did it, and I'm sure the Wilderness Wreck player was just like, what am I supposed to do against these Veils of Summer? Anyway, we're 2-0. We're 2-0. I will play first. Oh, this is a nice hand, too. We're keeping. Once again, I think leading on Watery Grave gives us the most options, so even though the life total might not be free, I still like it overall in the dark. We're against Dredge. And they have, unfortunately, both a Shriekhorn and a Cathartic Reunion. That's annoying. And they kept 7, and they've got lands and payoffs and enablers. So, I guess we're still taking Shrieky. But there's no real good answer there. One other option is to take Cathartic Reunion and hope that we get lucky and they have bad Shriekhorn hits, and also that they don't draw another enabler. I don't know how realistic that is, though. So, We can always grow the Goyf next turn, right? So let's just get that Blooming Marsh down. Our hand's good against most things, but not really that good against Dredge. Like, discard into Goyf is good, but it's not alone enough to beat their good draws, so we need help off the top. Gotta find a Scooze. I don't know what else we could find. Like, it is possible that we could overpower them with, like, Uro, with Goyf and Uro. A lot will depend on what this first Dredge off Life from the Loam does for them. Unless they found a bigger Dredge card, of course, off the top. So both the Myers are gone. Cathartic Reunion does pitch Loam. Okay, so they had some hits. They hit a second Loam off the first Loam. And then they hit Narcomoebas, and now they get the Amalgam back. So it's pretty good. Wasn't the scariest I've ever seen, but it was pretty good. Abrupt Decay. I think I'm going to main phase a Thought Scour on myself. Inquisition. I don't think we're supposed to cast that, because if there's nothing else besides Life from the Loam, we let them just Dredge from the outset next turn. Oof. At least we're making the opponent throw away Narcomoebas, like, starting turn 3. It's pretty good for us in a way. I don't know whether it will be correct to fetch Shock Abrupt Decay something here, like the Amalgam, or whether it will be better to just fetch for a tapped green Shockland in case we draw Scooze. Opponent rips a Shriekhorn off the top. They have 2 really good hits off it, Life from the Loam, Stinkweed Imp. Okay, sometimes Dredge just keeps hitting. Sometimes they just keep on hitting. What are you going to do about it? Not much. Here's a hard cast Life from the Loam from hand. Uh-huh. I don't think we're supposed to use this Decay. So we have a pretty mana inefficient turn, but I still don't want to Inquisition. And therefore, there's not really anything we can find off a main phase Snap Thought Scour that's all that appealing. So I think we're just supposed to keep forcing these Narcomoebas to jump. Play this Tomb tapped, and then Snap Thought Scour on the end step, you know, surprising them with a little bit of more board presence than they're expecting, and hopefully finding something really good. Again, an Uro either to hand or to the graveyard would be pretty exciting. Obviously, we just want to draw a Scooze, but failing that... Ooh, they put a Conflagrate in the bin. Dang. Man, their Shriekhorn hits have been so good, and that's the third enabler that we've had to deal with, and they had it turn 3. We Inquisitioned the first one, we couldn't do anything about the Cathartic Reunion, and then after they went off with a Reunion, they found a Shriekhorn. It's possible that if that turn I didn't want to cast Inquisition, maybe we could have done something about it, but you know what else might be hilarious is if they go really, really low. We could mill them out with Thought Scour. Low on their graveyard, low on their library. I really doubt it. There's no real need for them to. Look at this. Look at these hits. They just hint another Stinkweed Imp and Bloodghast. Oof. Oof. They're getting pretty close to hard casting that Ox. Is this a massive Conflagrate? If they do it for exactly 6 and we snap Thought Scour in response ourselves and we target a Planeswalker, that could be a blowout. If they hit the Goyf for exactly 6. No, they're just casting an Ox from the graveyard. Alright. I don't mind playing against Dredge, but sometimes when they're just solitaring like this, it's like, okay, cool. You got us. You got us good, right? A couple of Creeping Chills and Archimeva. That's all very, very rough. I don't think we're going for the Thought Scour win. I think we have to try to mill an Uro over into our own graveyard to have a chance here. Alright, what do we get? What do we get? We got an Uro to hand. Okay. I think I'm supposed to jump here, but it's not clear. It really just depends on what we draw. Polluted Delta. Okay. Why don't we leave a green and black open? That way we can get basic island or basic swamp off the Delta for this Abrupt Decay. Try to stay alive. Okay, we're making land drops. Opponent's got a Conflagrate with 3 cards in hand. And we're in a nice healthy 14 life. The problem is their gigantic board. Bit of a problem. So they have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, we're actually just dead, actually. They have got 13 power on board, and they hit Creeping Chill. Okay. They had 13 power on board if we blocked the Ox, right? 3, 6, 8, 10, 12. Well, you know, they had an extraordinarily resilient Dredge progression. We actually did okay, considering it's game 1 against Dredge. We had a hand in the opener that wasn't really an anti-Dredge hand at all, and we didn't find a Scooze. We were in it. If their hits had been less nutty, I think we had a shot there. So, these 8 cards, I don't know about Unmoored Ego. Like, it's Grave Hate, but it's just a really weird Grave Hate. And we also already have, like, slow 3-mana Grave Hate with Ashiok. I think it's playable, I just don't know if we're going to have 10 cards that we want to cut. Let's cut Liliana's. I guess we're going to cut all Fatal Pushes if we're looking at such heavy sideboarding. I don't mind leaving 1 or 2 in when I'm not on Lightning Bolt, when I'm not on Jund. We could cut Decays and Trophies, keep Drown in the Loch, and play all of this hate, even though Unmoored Ego's a little bit weak as hate. Maybe it's not even that weak. I don't know. I've never used it before. You guys can let me know. I like leaving Bobson on the play. I like both of these brutalities on the play. I think this is actually reasonable, and if we take him to game 3, maybe we trim like a brutality and a Bob, and maybe an Unmoored Ego. Some combination of that, depending on how they all perform, and we can bring back removal spells like Fatal Push. Yeah, I think this is fine. I think this is pretty good, but I don't like... We have a lot of cards to bring in, but a lot of them are kind of medium, so I don't know. This is a one-lander that operates entirely off Nurturing Peatland and has a bunch of blue cards in the hand. I think we have to mulligan for several reasons, unfortunately. Okay, this is a much better hand. It has 3 lands, Goyf, Scooz, Ashiok. It's not going to stop their good draws, but it is a keep. I'll bottom one of the Ashioks, I guess. This Peatland won't go away. We don't really want it. But we're going to keep it because it's the 3rd land. Okay, opponent mulliganed to 6 as well. So I think the thing to do here is going to be to get an Overgrown Tomb, play out the Scooz, and force them to remove it. And if they do, we then follow up with Ashiok. And if they don't, well, we maybe get to operate off Scooz plus a Goyf with 1 activation of Scooz and take it from there. We could always draw Nihil Spellbomb too, and then that might be the play. Drown in the Loch. Wow, that's a really interesting one because... Nah, I think we still have to play Scooz. Like, if they just... Yeah, they just operate off the Shriekhorn, we're in big trouble. But Drown in the Loch is, obviously good at countering Cathartic Reunion on turn 2 in some situations, but I think you kind of have to lead on discard to make that a realistic play. Opponent Shriekhorns into Reunion, Narcomoeba. Then they'll untap and they have free reign. They hit Reunion Stinkweed Imp. Bro, the Imp, really? They keep 7, they hit the Imp off of the turn 2 Shriekhorn. Ooh. Okay. Can they also kill our Scooz? They just have a cathartic... they're just completely nut drawing us. Completely and utterly nut drawing us. We do have an Ashiok to come down, but this is a disaster. Look at that. But admittedly, Ashiok's going to be great here. It's just like... not even sure it'll be enough, but we're going to do it. Ashiok, pretty OP. I think we're supposed to mill the opponent, even though with these Tarmogoyfs we have some incentives to mill ourselves. Leaving views back just in case they show us something, like before attacks, that makes us want to trade with Bloodghast. I don't know that they will. I don't know how likely it is, and if it's not likely, maybe we should have gotten the chip in for 2, but I think it's just like, their other Shriekhorn activation. Wow, but they scooped to that? Really? Okay. I thought they were still in it. Maybe not. I don't know what their hand is, obviously. Whatever. I'm tired, so I might not be rating things correctly. Alright, on the draw. Well, we didn't get to see a lot of the fringe tech. I think I'm cutting 1 Unmoored Ego on the draw and 1 Brutality and bringing back just maybe 2 Fatal Push or maybe a push and a Decay. I want to be able to, play more reactively and make value-negative plays that stabilize me so I don't get completely run over. I think just 2 push is fine, and of course, push is good in conjunction with other Grave Hate. So I'll just play the cheapest one. Well, we drew 2 hate pieces, and it was enough. Boy, our non-functional openers are not really where we want to be, but opponent has to mull as well. He could get greedy and keep this because Thought Scour plus our natural draw. And, we have some good cards, including Nihil Spellbomb, but I think we have to mull a 1-lander here. I think we have to mull a 1-land 7. Unless it's got, a dual land and discard and Grave Hate. Let's mull. Ooh, this is a medium 6, but it plays the value game really well. I think this is a keep. It's very unclear what to bottom. Really hope to see the opponent mull to 5 here. And lower. And lower. This Peatland again, haunting us here. I wish it was pretty much any other land except maybe a second tar pit. This doesn't really have grave hate to speak of. Unmoored Ego, I don't know if it counts on the draw. They keep 6, huh? I think we're keeping the 6. It's like, it's okay. It's really unclear what to bottom, but I think I'm going to bottom Plague Man. Put our faith in... I think we have to keep Unmoored Ego, even though it's unclear how effective it'll be. And then we're putting our faith in Goyf with Uro back up to contain the board. I didn't think opponent would have a turn 1 play if they tank that long over the decision. But they have turn 1 Shriekhorn, so it's pretty tough. Pretty tough to face that every game. And we just draw Swamp, which is pretty awful. Shriekhorn will hit Amalgam, and another Horn, and another Amalgam, and a Lightning Axe on their upkeep, so not the worst. Amalgams are obviously a problem, but they may not have a way to get them out. We'll see. And I'm just glad they didn't hit any Dredge cards, because we assume they kept a 2-land hand. They did. Well, we draw a Plague Man. Okay. Not really what we wanted to see, but a fine card in the matchup. It's just... we have enough fine cards right now. We wanted like a really good card. But we play the Goyf. Please don't have Lightning Axe. Okay. There it is. They Shriekhorn into Golgari Thug. So that's the nightmare. They're finally dredging. They hit another Life from the Loam. Another Dredge in the form of Life from the Loam, rather. And I hope these Amalgams can't come back this turn, because then I'm probably supposed to name them with Unmoored Ego, right? Okay, they don't come back. I guess we'll attack first. Opponent's at 15. We got a 5-6 Goyf. That's something. Alright, Unmoored Ego. How good are you? How good are you? Boom, boom, boom. It's not as good as Nihil Spellbomb, that much I can tell you. But... prized Amalgam. They had 1 in hand, too. Okay. Graveyard, graveyard. 1 in library, 1 in hand. So their hand is Trophy, Bloodghast, Thug, Narcomoeba. Got all 4 clicked, and other notables in the deck, 2 Conflagrate and 2 Ox, kind of splitting that slot. 1 more Lightning Axe. A Dakmor Salvage of Forgotten Cave. Nothing else too spicy. Alright, so Trophy, Ghast, Thug, Narcomoeba in the hand. Kind of a weak hand, but Assassin's Trophy kills our Goyf, and they're getting to Dredge, but they don't hit much off of it. Trophy for the Goyf is rough, though. They play the Thug. Interesting. Are we supposed to Plague Man the Thug away? And hit for 5. Basically forcing them to Trophy next turn. That gives them another Dredge, but they're clearly ready to block here anyway. The alternative, of course, is to play Uro. And we could play Uro and also play Bob this turn. Or we could draw something really good like Nihil Spellbomb. I don't know what's correct. So that's a real tough call. They're going to put a haggle back on the top when Golgari Thug dies. Merchant of the Veil, but really, obviously, that's there for the haggle. I'm just kind of tanking over this decision. I guess it's probably more important to double spell than to put them to 5. Wish we had a way to disrupt this. We've drawn Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize takes away their trophy. We're probably supposed to do that rather than play the Bob. So we are rewarded for that line of Uro, in a way, in a pretty significant way. So Thug finds Imp. And a Merchant of the Veil, which is something that they can buy back with the Thug if they hard cast him, but it looks like they're going for a Life from the Loam here. Ooh, into Forgotten Cave. Yup. Into Narcomoeba. Yup. So now do we go Plague Man Naming Illusion and smack him with the Goyf? Probably. Thought Scour. Thought Scour, I mean, we're not escaping Uro anyway without double blue. Man, if, like... Yeah, our mana's not complying. I think we do just need to make a huge board here. Illusion, Bob. Put him down to 5. Hope to fade a good Dredge off Stinky. And a lot of things are lethal for us, but a lot of their hits are going to be really live too. Oh, did they already Dredge Stinkweed Imp? Narcomoeba dies to state-based effects, but still, I believe, sets off the chain of things coming back, but Prized Amalgam no longer in the deck. So do they just leave Narcomoeba in the graveyard? That is a may. Yes, they do, and yes, it is. It's pretty intense, my friends. Pretty intense, wouldn't you say? Plague Man doing a ton of work here. I'm very glad we took the line that we did, because Plague Man Naming Illusion is pretty sweet here, and also, again, rewarded us by Thoughtseizing away the trophy, drawing the Thoughtseize off Uro. OP in the tank. Beginning with a Forgotten Cave. Dredging Life from the Loam, they found Ox. That's probably what they were trying to find, right? Seems like a pretty good find to me, but I'm not a Dredge player. Now they get to dredge 3 times. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Now Conflagrate's in the bin. But, you know, without amalgams, it's a little bit different. So if we draw blue land, they're dead. Because Creeping Tar Pit will be live. Okay. Verdant Catacombs. All of our blue lands are there to be fetched. GG. Alright, we did it. We did it. Unmoored Ego was awesome there. And a lot of the times it'll be too slow turn 3 on the draw. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. It doesn't replace your spell bombs. But Unmoored Ego, given their exact progression, was a huge blowout. It was a blowout because all of their payoffs early, for their early setup turns, were those 2 amalgams. And because they happened to have 1 in hand. And because further dredging was always like a little bit like they got a ton of cards in the graveyard, but they were not like quote unquote double spelling. It's not strictly a double spell when they do it, because often their spell involves, you know, a non-casted mechanic, but you understand the point. They needed the free trigger. They needed something getting free triggers, and that is Bloodghast, which wasn't relevant there, or Narcomoeba, which was shut off by Plague Man, or Prized Amalgam, which is the biggest payoff, the hardest one for us to handle a lot of the time, and it's the one that we exiled with Unmoored Ego. So, Alan, your call, my friend, of Unmoored Ego. We'd be having disdainful strokes on the bench without those. So, I don't know exactly how to rate the card, but we've had some pretty good use cases for it so far. It did work against Wilderness Wreck too, although admittedly, strokes are good there as well. Well, guys, we are facing down some real modern menaces, and we are 3-0. A lot of things that can give mid-range fits. Urolgari, looking good. We're on the play with double QB 5 lands. Okay. QB's the one thing that hasn't looked great here, but it is a good card. It just hasn't looked great so far. Yeah, I'm going to send this one back. Send this one back to the shop, and now they give us a 1-land 6, really? We can't keep this one either. It's a breeding pool. Oof. Okay, opponent is at least mulling with us, but going to 5 in a game 1 is a disaster for mid-range, and now we have to go to 4, because this is a no-land 7. Wow. Well, I was just thinking about how things were going. Okay. It can never last. It can never last. Okay, we keep. Maybe Uro can solo them. We're at 4. I can't believe we're at 4. When's the last time you saw me mull to 4? Let's bottom a swamp. Bottom a Scoos. Then what? Think we'll just hope to get quote-unquote lucky and draw the 3rd land. I'm going to lead on Breeding Pool. This really looks like Infect or something, mulling to 4 and then playing a Breeding Pool tapped. If the opponent, Thoughtseizes us, I might scoop. Arkham's Astrolabe. Okay. I guess I'm playing it out. Hey, we're going to have Uro. Opponent's probably very confused to see a Tarmogoyf after a Multifor. You don't see that almost ever. Because decks like ours can't really afford to do it. But again, maybe if the opponent had kept like a really medium 6 and they get stuck, Uro can just snowball. Did they keep a 1? No, they didn't keep a 1-lander. Or maybe they did, but Astrolabe has gotten them out of it, if so. I'm just going to continue to Fetch Shock until further notice. We want our mana to be as good as possible for prospect of escaping. Well, all we're doing is drawing lands, so I'm really glad we bottomed one of the lands and kept this Goyf around. It's possible that I should have played Verdant Catacombs just in case that enables the escape next turn. I just kind of reflexively played the ETB tapped land. Okay, we're against Bant Uro, so our Multifor is punished severely. OP with 6 cards in hand to our 1 fetch land in hand. We both have Uro. We've got a Goyf, but yeah, not really what we need, is it? Goyf's not even good in this matchup, really. You can win some game 1s on the back of it. You can win some post-side games on the back of it. But ultimately, you probably want to compete more on the value axis than anything else. So if they provide us a Fatal Push target, I think that'd be a good thing for our prospects of escaping and doing something with our Multifor. Another Uro? Well, we could push it while its abilities are on the stack, but I'm not going to do that. They play cards like Quattle that we might actually want to push, you know? I don't think we're supposed to crack this, though, because we want to be able to push an escaped Uro. Just only drawing lands, at least Tar Pit's live, but brutal. Multifor followed by Severe Flood. Not a winning formula in any format, but certainly not in Modern. Well, this is going to be a slugfest. I'm pretty tired. I honestly just wish we played against some other deck than this. We don't even have chokes because we're the blue deck now. Oh boy. Okay. QB. Sure. I don't think we're really supposed to play around anything at this stage of the game. Let's just jam them and see what happens. Cryptic Command. I mean, value-wise, that's another disaster. We just fall further behind on the value axis, but I guess that doesn't necessarily change much. We traded. We're that much closer to escaping Uro, right? They go Mystic Sanctuary buying back their Cryptic, so they're not even worried about escaping Uro. They'd rather just loop Cryptic. Aha, it's because they have Teferi. Okay, now I'm going to end step fetch to thin, and then I'll take my draw step and play my turn and then probably scoop it up. Get our last fetchable shock land out of there. We draw a forest for a moment. Well, I guess we're going to walk into the Cryptic Command. Why not? Might as well make him use it. And hope that somehow, someway they brick after this. Although they have the Uro inevitability, so they just can't. Can't believe we drew a forest. After all this, we drew forest. I think it's Uro time. Well, I think we're not favored here because we're doing a lot of the same things, but I think they just have the edge in any kind of grindy matchup. We can put a better clock down on combo decks, but I don't think we can outgrind them most of the time. As you can see by them just ripping Big Tef into Uro into Little Tef. Gross. Alright. What keeps us in the game? Probably nothing, but guess we can start on Goyf. Scavenging Ooze. Okay, let's start with the Goyf. Let's play a Scooze. We can't escape Uro quite yet. If they path something here on the unstep or maybe bounce it, that turns on Fatal Push. Or they'll just play a Quattle. Oh my god. Why am I playing this one out? Another Quattle. Why am I playing this out? Now they've got Path, of course. Well, I guess we are playing it out because they're not connecting with Uro this turn. Oh, yes, they are, because Little Tef protects them from everything. The deck is a disaster. I absolutely hate that deck. Playing against this deck makes me want to play Neobrand. It literally makes me want to play Neobrand or some other all-in combo deck to punish everything about that. I'm playing Veils of Summer. I'm going to play Veils of Summer. This is what playing Modern has reduced me to, guys. I think we want both Ashioks. I think I'm going to play like one Unmoored Ego. We don't want to 0-for-1 ourselves by not having anything in their hand, but I think we want to compete over the Uro enough that I'm going to play one Ego. I think like 2 Plague Engineer and 1 to 2 Brutality I also want to come in. So we have a lot to do, but a lot of it is relatively medium compared to being like on Jund. Bringing in a lot of this stuff plus chokes, I think is sweet. But we're going to cut, I think, all pushes and try to answer Uro and Quattle in different ways with the cards I'm bringing in. I think we're going to cut all Goyfs and commit fully to winning the grind. I think that's what we're supposed to do, even though it might not work. I think that's statistically correct if you have enough to bring in, which we do. And even after cutting pushes and Goyfs, which are both kind of reasonable in a couple different ways, we don't really have other cuts to make. I might be cutting a land here because I think we need to get lucky to win. So, like, it's a little high risk to cut a land on the play, but I think I might anyway. Yeah, so I'm going to play with only 1 Brutality. Gonna cut a land, but I'm wincing a little bit doing so. It just makes us a little bit more likely to get land screwed, and then we still have 1 cut to make, and everything else is good. Could play with only one Scooze, but we already cut all the Goyfs. We don't want to be too light on early threats. I think just cut a Thought Scour. It's just kind of a filler card that you can trim. Thought about cutting a QB, but QB has to stay in this matchup for sure. I think. This has nowhere near enough interaction for me, but I definitely don't want to maul it. It's perfectly functional. It's just unexciting. I will keep it, though. Let's see a mulligan from UOP. Let's see a couple mulligans. If they mulligan at least once, I'm feeling decent. If they don't, I think we're probably behind, but anything could happen. They keep 7. Oh, darn. Oh, darn. We're going to get a breeding pool here to get maximum... We have 2 of every color. That's what I'm trying to say. Forgive me if I'm less eloquent than usual right now. We're going to get all the colors. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. Thought Scour, sure. Would have loved to open on that, but it's still like pretty much a fine card to draw at most any stage of most any game. But yeah, we lead on Scooze. An opponent just has double island. Interesting. So I'm gonna just attack and then I think try to jam Lily. One of the things they could really have here is permission, but like I think our matchup is bad enough that we just make them have it every single time. We can't afford to be too cagey. Now, if she resolves, it'll be an interesting question what to pitch. I could see pitching Thought Scour here to make that 4th land drop, but I could also just see pitching the Watery Grave. Lily resolving is kind of surprising, but I'll take it. I think I'm pitching the Grave here. If it was a green land, I'd be a little more inclined to keep it. Keeping Thought Scour is good because it's going to help us just see more cards and hit more lands anyway. And we get Big Teth out of the hand. That's a moral victory. I hate this card. Look at this guy. Who does he think he is? The hero of Dominaria. Okay, bro. Whatever you say. Oh, man. I don't drink alcohol at all anymore. But I'm kind of so tired I almost feel a little bit buzzed. You guys ever been there? You know what I mean? Inquisition and awkward draw would have been a great draw if we kept our Watery Grave, because then we could go Inquisition, snap Inquisition. This is a weird spot. It's a weird spot indeed. There you have Field of Ruin, huh? I'm a little worried about them fielding us to get green and playing Veil of Summer. So I think, as much as it sucks, I think I'm pitching Inquisition. And then just attacking and, like, holding up Thought Scour. How the 300 IQ play, they pitch Veil of Summer. I knew it. I smelled it. Alright, guys. I'm kind of happy with my play here, I'm not going to lie. You might have seen lines that I've missed, and I definitely haven't played perfectly. I know I made at least one mistake, shocking and unnecessarily against humans. But overall, kind of unfamiliar territory. I think we're doing justice to Urolgari. And so far, so good. Through some tough matchups, I might add. So I'm happy. I hope you guys are having fun with me. If they field a Greenland, I'm going to just eat Veil of Summer, I guess, in response. We definitely want to eat something. Just to generally keep their graveyard resources low. But yeah, this deck obviously playing Veil on top of everything else is pretty rough. We're either going to be operating on only one green or only one black. I think I'm going to take the green here, but it is a judgment call. We only have 2 other Lilianas in the deck, and I was going to say they might be pathing us, so if they path Ooze, then we'll have both. But they didn't do that. Alright, so we've navigated around Veil of Summer. Yeah, I'm recording this, like, last second before the leagues close. Well, you know, I could play in the middle of the night, but I don't do that. I'm a working father. I can't do stuff like that. And I think it might be released after the fact, but Ikoria is not going to turn the meta on its head immediately, by any means. So the content will still be fresh, is what I'm trying to say. It'll still be relevant when it comes out, even if it's like, 5-6 days after the fact. Okay, so opponent has an Uro, making them some land drops. Gonna get gobbled up by the Skoos, thankfully. Skoos are really nice on the play here. So first thing is to do that. Second order of business, Thought Scour ourselves. So opponent they're gonna Ether Gust our Ooze in response. Okay. Let's just eat another card out of their graveyard. So our Ooze is gonna get milled if we put it on top. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I guess we should bottom it. Higher likelihood of hitting like an Uro off this. Unmoored Ego, Veil of Summer, and Snap hit the bin. That sucks. Oh boy, this is awkward. I wish I had hand information for Unmoored Ego. I think what I'm just doing here is... Yeah, I kind of want to pitch the Ego. I think it might be correct to do so. This risks them eventually just wrecking us with Uro, but I'm like ahead on resources amazingly, so I don't want to go behind on them. And I'm just going to play a Plague Man naming Snake. Okay. We're competitive in this game too. I like it. I like it a lot. What do they have? Another Teferi? How can you get away with playing 2 to 3 big Tef in Modern? How can you get away with it? Grotesque. Do they have a way to, like, do they have a... What's it called? Celestial Purge here for Liliana, too. That would be a disaster. If not, at least for Lily ulting. And we are. We are Lily ulting. So I think we should probably put, like, Teferi and Breeding Pool together. Okay, in response, they're pathing here. I don't see any reason to do it right then and there, personally. That just lets us decide with Lily with more information, right? But now we've got no pressure on the Teferi. I almost want to put him alone. I think, like, Teferi Field of Ruin is fine here. We don't want them fielding us anyway. So, yeah. We either get a quadruple Stone Rain or we get to kill Teferi. Yeah, we got to kill Teferi, sweet. So I think we're supposed to... Ooh. I think we're actually supposed to play another Plague Man and then next turn start holding up Snap Veil of Summer. I'm glad I considered pitching a Plague Man earlier. I'm glad I didn't. Glad we pitched the Unmoored Ego instead, although, again, of course, we don't want them to find Uros, but... Snap Veil of Summer, plus Plague Man. Those are our lifelines in this matchup. Hey, we drew a Bob, that's cool. That does something. And we have just enough mana to play him and then compete over... compete over a counterspell with Veil. With Snap Veil, rather. The problem is, if we do that, and even if we win it, we are then all in and vulnerable to a verdict. But I think making them have it is fine. I don't know how many copies they play. They've already seen one. And they don't have the white land that they'd need for it anyway, so I'm going to go for it. We have to, again, in this matchup, I feel we have to take high-risk lines. And of course, if Bob sticks, whether we have to fight through it with Snap Veil or not, he's going to be very good. Okay, here's an Archmage's Charm. Time for another Veil of Summer blowout. Okay, don't verdict me, bro. Don't verdict us. We've drawn Inquisition. They have drawn Uro. Yep, Uro's rough. Uro's rough. Extends the game a lot. It's going to be pretty hard to beat if they can ever unearth him, but no land drop yet. Okay, Bob is showing us. Come on, Bob, show us the love. Inquisition and Thought Scour. Okay, I'm going to open up on Inquisition here. 3 cards in their hand, only 1 blue open. Spell Pierce, Ice Fang, Quattle, Ether Gust. That puts red or green. We don't have any of those, so I think it's a pretty easy take of Quattle. No, actually, because Plague Man shuts off Quattle. Ooh. I still think we'd take Quattle, because they could remove the Plague Man, and then it's a... Plus, they can just cantrip off of it. You understand. I'm not going to belabor the obvious. We found Uro. We found Uro. Spell Pierce, non-creature spell. Uro is a creature. What a turn. What a turn, guys. Whew. And we're just making a million land drops, which admittedly is not really what we want to find, but again... If we're going to have a bunch of lands on top, it's awesome to do it with Uro ramping us like this. Getting a double land drop turn, and that's the concession. Oh, we took down Bant Snow? Oh, Urolgari showing them the truth. Showing them what's up. I really like the way we sideboarded. I don't know about this Unmoored Ego, but I think it's acceptable as a one of. I'm not going to play 2. It's going to be tougher. Going to be tougher, probably, on the draw. But we got a lot to like about our 60. I'm going to run it on back. Another one-lander. Opponent keeps 7. This is a really good one-lander. I mean, kind of really good. Are we supposed to risk this keep? I don't feel like I can beat this deck on a Mull to 6 on the draw. We've got Veil of Summer. We've got Thought Scour, which is... Thought Scour makes a one-lander as unrisky as it can get. We can cast both off our land. I think I'm supposed to keep this, but it's not clear. Well, kind of taking the high-risk, high-reward lines has served us well so far. That's how we won game 2. I'm going to keep, but let the record state that it's debatable. Very debatable. Astrolabe. We find Uro. Okay, not great. We maybe should have just main phased Thought Scour to play around Spell Pierce. If they, like, Spell Pierce or Thought Scour, that's, like, they won't know that that's necessarily a good play, but obviously that's just a disaster. Oh my god, we resolved it, but we have no lands anywhere near the top of our deck, so now we're main phasing another Thought Scour. Come on, land. Come on, land. Please, land. What, now are they going to pierce it? Oh no, oh no, oh no. Not like this. They've got permission. It seems pretty obvious at this point. Our sequencing does not necessarily betray that we don't have a second land. We could, like, it could very well just be correct for us to do this anyway. Although if they really stop to think about it, and we had a second land, unless it's a tapped one, we would probably run it out to at least bluff, or in fact have access to Veil of Summer. Oh boy, oh boy. I don't like this deliberation. Just end my suspense. Just end the suspense. Are we going to make a second land drop and have a chance? Or are we just going to lose to our own high-risk, high-reward keep? Drawing 2 Uros off the 2 draw steps we've had is about as bad as it gets when you're land screwed, though. Like, I think the statistics are with us to hit a second land, and from there to have a reasonable chance to hit a third land, because we can play Nihil Spellbomb and cash it in if we need to, and then we're operational with Veil of Summer. We've got a lot of other things going for us. Is the opponent having connectivity issues? I would kind of hate to win like that, but at the same time, I would kind of love to win like that. Like, if it's a good close game and like it's a matchup that I like to play against and my deck's functioning, I'm like, oh man, let's play it out. They did lose connection. Alright, I'm going to be right back while they do. Unbelievable, and we missed our land drop. Jeez. Okay, we lose. We lose, basically, unless they just flood. But you can't imagine that's likely, can you? Land. It's Creeping Tar Pit. It's the Creeping Tar Pit. Yeah, I mean, we're going to play Spellbomb here. Got to do something with our turn in, like, Veil of Summer with nothing that we're trying to protect on the stack. Doesn't make sense, so. Okay, we hit the second land, but they have another Quattle. Alright. Now, if we hadn't missed our land drops, we might be going into a spot where, like, on turn 4, we could play Plague Man with Veil of Summer back up, and that would be amazing. But, obviously, we are not. We're not at all. We're not at all. So, first step is to draw that third land, right? Second step might be to just jam Plague Man and make him have something. Ooh, okay. I thought they might be fielding us to take us off a color, but that would also have let us activate Spellbomb this turn for another look. They still might. It'd be a little risky for them, though, you know? Ooh, we hit the third land. Now what? Once more, I think we just have to take the high-risk line here. Plague Engineer, do you have permission? They don't. Got him. Got the snakes. They have a Path to Exile. Oh, yeah, seems fine to me. Okay. It's turn 4 and we have 4 lands on the field. We did it. Let's get our second green. Well. We're in it. We're in the mix. Opponent has a third Quattle. Okay, I see why they pathed there. It looked slightly questionable to me unless they just had a handful of paths, but that makes total sense. Okay, now it is time. Well, let's make sure they don't play anything second main. Now it is time to play something and protect it with Veil of Summer. You know, I'm kind of just feeling Uro here, but I wish we had an Overgrown Tomb, because then we could leave Spellbomb and Veil of Summer up. Could also just play Liliana and Edict, or even Tick Up. Maybe Liliana's the play here. I'm going to go for her. It doesn't telegraph Veil as much, because now we have no choice but to go double black. Alright, this looks like a Cryptic command. Force of Negation. Hardcast. Well, it's not as big of a blowout, but we'll still Veil it. Ether Gust. Veil of Summer, put it back on top. Okay. They got us. But that's still some fine exchanges, really. They've got 4 cards to our 4 cards, and they have a Quattle, but we have Spellbomb on field. We're drawing Veil of Summer, and we have an Uro in hand and in the graveyard. They know we're going to have Veil, and they play a snow-covered island. Okay. What do we want to try next? I think I might want to try an Ashiok next. Feels a little weird not playing our Uros, but I'm like just as scared of their Uro as I am pumped up about mine, you know? And again, if we had an Overgrown Tomb so we could hold up Veil and Spellbomb, it might be a different story, but I kind of want to do my double black spells here. And they might just decide not to fight over the Ashiok here. Okay, they're fielding our Tar Pit. Guess we're going to get another Swamp. We're really far away from Uro that way, though, but I want to hold up Spellbomb and Veil this turn. I think milling the opponent's a real win condition, and we already have enough value in our yard. I'm just milling them here. And we're holding up Trophy this way too, which is definitely not nothing. Okay, Quattle pressed into attacking Ashiok. Mystic Sanctuary. Okay, I'm just untapping. We've drawn Overgrown Tomb. That's the land I've been looking for. But still cannot escape Uro yet. But I do think I'm going to shock it in and then play the one from hand. kind of just looking for more land drops, or on whatever. Whatever is good, right? Alright, just keeping the Ashiok around for now. What I might do is Spellbomb to Cantrip on the end step, and then mill again with Ashiok if we have to. Our mana situation is still awkward. Not enough blue. It's possible I should have got Island off of that field. Maybe you rated the prospect of cantripping with Spellbomb too highly. Okay. They got the 4th Quattle of the game, and we got our 2nd Plague Man of the game. Yep, cashing in the Spellbomb, looking aggressively for more action, land drops, whatever. We found Thoughtseize, seems fine. Seems fine. So Thoughtseize into Plague Man with Veil backup. Let's do it. Supreme Verdict, double path to exile. Still think we kinda have to trade the Plague Man for these Quattles. Might as well. I think we take one path. I think we take one path. Alright, we milled over some permission and some lands. I wouldn't have really minded them drawing that stuff, you gotta say. So, if they verdict the Plague Man, we can then commit more fully to the board later. They immediately top deck an Uro. That's a disaster. That sucks. Wow, does that suck. And they find a breeding pool off of it. Played out the Strand. Overgrown Tomb, and still no other blue for us. Dang it. Alright, let's attack with the Plaguester. I think we're supposed to leave Ashiok around. And just say go here. Play a little cagily. I've got a snow-covered plains, sure. We got our island, nice. Well, not nice if they decide to path us now, right? But so we can snap Thoughtseize to force that action, but then we're not escaping Uro this turn, so I think we just escape the Uro. The clock really matters. I'm just doing literal whatever here with my plays. Yes. Maybe they'll path with this on the stack. There is a Watery Grave to get. So that was actually pretty good. Unfortunately, our Drown in the Loch is not live. They're going to mill themselves. Okay. Now our Drown in the Loch is live. Pathing our Uro. Oh, I forgot to fetch. I forgot to fetch. That sucks. Well, here's what we can do. We can trophy their Ashiok, which is not ideal, but we're supposed to. Right? I think we're supposed to. I don't know. The clock matters. I'm exhausted. I'm just competing over everything right now. And then they'll get to Verdict, but we have good follow-ups to all that, and we're rebuilding for another Uro down the road. And they have an Uro of their own now. That's the major problem. But they can't really do both, can they? I don't know. I should really just focus on playing and not commentating, so my apologies for that. Verdict is not even castable right now, it seems. This is quite the game, guys. This is quite the game. They have a Verdict in hand. Okay, so cancel. I think attacking with both is correct here. We have nothing to fetch with that. So I think we're supposed to snap trophy their Uro and try to rebuild from their Verdict with our own Uro again. Kinda sucks, but guys, this is super intense. This is super intense. They find a Jace. Oh boy. Oh my god, they ripped Jace off the top. Bro, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. You have to stop it. You have to stop with these top decks. Oh man, oh man. Oh man, oh man, oh man. Might be correct with Mill of Ashiok. We get the Uro out of the yard, we get more cards out of the yard after they Verdict here. And we fill our own graveyard for our Uro. I think it's correct. Unfortunately, we are ripping lands. I'm going to mill myself. Judgment Call. Mill win condition against the opponent could definitely still be live. Mystic Sanctuary in response. Yikes. Okay. Oh, and all we're drawing is totally dead fetch lands. They're almost totally dead, right? All they do is, like, spend a life to put a card in our graveyard. I can't believe how badly we're flooding. I can't believe it. But we do have them dead in 2 hits, or 3 hits if we take a turn off to hit Jace. We do have Veil of Summer to protect from Cryptic Command, but the problem is they've got a Jace. I can't believe they ripped a Jace. Oh my goodness. I don't know if my play has been optimal, guys. Obviously, you can tell how intense this is at the end of this league. But we're doing our best. I just found a path. Okay. Probably GG. We have another Veil of Summer. Well, it's Inquisition, but the Jace is going to beat us. They have a Veil. Their hand is Veil Cryptic Command, so they have just completely nut drawn us here at the end of the game. Just try to win on the clock now, to the point where I actually am just going to 6 my turn. They rip an Uro off the top. Yeah, their draws literally couldn't be better. Alright, so it sucks to come this far and then have the opponent just... When we have them on the ropes after a lot of really good back and forth, they draw Jace, into Path for our only Uro, into Veil of Summer for our Inquisition. They got Cryptic Command, they got then their own Uro off the top. Uh-huh. And then they're going to Fate Seal us. Okay, turn off auto yields because we want to shuffle away that Fate Seal, but my client didn't respond in time. What a bunch of crap. That's so dumb. I visibly clicked it well before it was our turn. Whatever. I mean, what can you do? What can you do about this, right? I did it again, just in case. They went to the bottom, so I guess we don't need to do it now. Liliana, sure. Try her. I have a Celestial Purge. They go bot. Okay, we're 6th. Come on, another Uro or something good. Oh my god, a land? Really? A fetch land? Really? Our draws are so bad. Our draws are so bad. Our draws are so bad. I guess Trophy's good here to answer Jace, but we're still kind of losing on the clock if we try to do that. But we can force Trophy through. Alright, I'm fetching. To screw your Fate Seal. We have 20 cards left in the deck. Inquisition of freaking Kozilek. Our draws have been brick after brick after brick after brick. Their hand is cryptic, big tough. Okay, we gotta draw an out to Jace this turn. They bottom. Monastery Mentor. Okay. Whatever. Draw a trophy. Snapcaster Mage does not do it. There's no trophy in the bin. I'm going to concede to that. Wait a minute. Cancel. Does Veil of Summer stop this? I think it might. We're going to fight over it. I'm going to lose on the clock anyway, so this is kind of dumb, but... Gotta always yield here. We gotta Veil again. Oh, I'm too tired to click well. I'm too tired to click well. This is one that I would probably... I'm usually ahead on the clock if I'm not on camera. So apologies for this. This is a crazy one. This is a crazy one to finish on right now. Oh my god, resolve trigger, resolve. Ah, the clock. The clock. We're still losing to it. We've drawn Brutality and Peatland, so we're still breaking. We're still breaking after all this. And we're going to lose to the clock, but we put up a hell of a fight. Thoughtseize. Sure. Just to see what they're working with after all that. Teferi Ashiok. Okay, GG, well played. Dark Confidant. Oh boy. Well, guys, that literally doesn't get any closer than that. I hope you enjoyed it. I didn't really enjoy piloting it in my current state. That was really stressful, but... And I hate playing against these stupid Bant Snow decks, but hey. That was a really good game. We started to lose our client. We started to experience the client bug again here at the end. So I'm going to restart it and then come back for round 5. All right, guys, we're back, and oh boy, I think we were ahead, and then they top decked the Jace. I really think we were ahead after all that. That was so intense. I'm like half asleep now. I haven't taken any breaks. I literally just restarted the client and we're back at it because it's too late for me to take a break and come back. We will keep. I hope you guys are having fun. I'm sorry we dropped that one. It's very possible I left a line or two on the table, but I didn't really feel like I was in the moment. But the longer the game went on, the less certain of that I was. So anyway, super close. Who else do you know that consistently just goes to the mat so often with these games, right? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. We're against Soul Sisters with a Stoneforge Mystic package. They have 2 Soul Sisters, SFM, Lingering Souls, 3 lands. I guess we just take an SFM because it's the 2-for-1, and then possibly Decay a Soul's Attendant, or possibly just play a Goyf and get to beating. This is more like the matchup I want to play. They might have some nasty surprises for us, but like... This is 1,000 times more fun for me on a mid-range deck than Bant Snow. So, I think the matchup should be pretty good for us, but I haven't seen mono white Soul Sisters in quite some time. Have never seen it with a Stoneforge Mystic package involved. That is for sure. So I think we are probably supposed to play the Bob here. Try to start double spelling. I'm just deciding how likely I think it is that they're on some kind of a Arbiter package that makes me want to fetch right now, so I guess I will. We also can conceal blue from them for a turn for what that's worth, which might not be much. But... So we give them a life that they would not otherwise have if we decayed. And then more life when they play another Soul Sister next turn, but... You understand, turn 2 Bob on the play, seeming pretty good right about now. These Lingering Souls could definitely be a problem. We need to find a good way to grind with those. Obviously, Bob is a good way. Okay, it is Dead Gael, so they do play black. That wasn't clear with double Windswept Heath. And they drew Fatal Push. That's a pretty good draw for OP, isn't it? So, did they use the fetch turn 1? They did. I just want to make sure I'm tracking the hand correctly. Okay, so their hand is Plain Souls, 1 unknown. We're just flooded. I'm going to decay a Soul Sister. It might not strictly be correct, but I can see it really mattering, given our flood, given the painful mana, given the fact that they're also about to play a Lingering Souls for sure. Unless maybe they drew another Stoneforge Mystic. Okay, Johnny's Pridemate, that makes sense too. Oof. Oof. We're getting out top-decked hard by Soul Sisters right now. Shouldn't really be possible on average, but it's happening. Liliana's fine. That's the play. It's pretty bad in the face of Souls, but it's better now than it will be next turn. So, any form of interaction I'm not going to be, not really going to turn down. The Pridemate's going to get pretty big if they find another Soul Sister, but right now we've broken up the combo. Opponent thought about attacking us. Auric Champion. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That is so bad for us. Oh, not like this. Not like this. I guess second blue could be relevant here. We got a trophy. Alright. Trophy hits the Pridemate. Goyf contends with the champion. I mean, we're just trophying it anyway, so we might as well wait. I don't expect any way for them to blow out a trophy game 1, especially. But they probably play discard spells, and that's a good reason to wait as long as possible here. What is this hesitation? Do they have a path or a push? Maybe not. Maybe not. Who knows? Who knows? Where's our Plague Man when we need him? See you later. I mean, Uro would be a very welcome draw right now. Questing Beast. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I think I'm going to conceal info with this Polluted Delta. And the race is on. The race is officially on. Draws like this are why I did care more about the life total early than might have made sense. Obviously, getting the Goyf down earlier is another way to race too, but the Soul Sisters decks really do thrive when they have a Soul Sister down. I mean, to state the obvious, right? Alright, opponents got lands in hand and they're going to draw a Thoughtseize. Right? Right. They instead find Soul Warden. They've got the Lingering Souls to flashback, so it's going to get harder and harder to race. But QB's amazing against their board. And they still can't really safely mob block Goyf. And they cannot attack along the ground either. So let's draw like kill spells or Uro. Kill spells or Uro. I would take a Scavenging Ooze here too. Nurturing Peatland, not so much. Oh, they have a path too. Okay. Okay. Whatever. That's pretty bad, obviously. And for the millionth time this game, we just flood. Or this league, we just flood. That's, I mean, doesn't Urolgari look really strong? It does, but you can only do so much in the face of this flooding. How many times did we brick when we were in the driver's seat against blue-white control? Or Bant control. With fetch lands. Literally just with fetch lands. I'm starting to hate the sight of these fetch lands. Because that's the only reason we're really dropping games so far, I think, is the flood. We look like we're doomed here round one against black-white Stoneblade Soul Sisters, of all things. I played Soul Sisters back in the day when I was newer to Modern. I played Norrin Sisters, which is pretty cool. Opponent just gassing out. I mean, we're getting drastically out-top-decked by a Soul Sisters deck. You have to admire it, but again, on average, it really shouldn't be happening. But you do admire it at the same time. All right, what do we want here? Still the same stuff. Not a Darkslick Shores. Guys, you couldn't make this up. Okay, I mean, you see the potential of the deck. We started 3-0, and then it falls apart. This always seems to happen to me lately. I don't want to say it always happens to me. That's not true, but it happens to me a lot lately. But enough whining for me. Let's just beat this deck, right? Let's just beat it down. So, Plague Man, Brutality. Probably both spell bombs, but at least one. You gotta respect Lingering Souls. Veil of Summer for the discard spells is what I'm not sure about, because they're clearly a base white deck. They clearly play Path and a lot of white stuff, but they do play Fatal Push as well. So I think we want some mix from among this for sure. It's going to be hard to tell what. I could see trimming down to 2 Lily in the face of Lingering Souls. Could also see trimming some Thoughtseizes. But we've still got a lot of cuts to make, even if we make those cuts. I'm just going to say my card quality is way higher and cut down another Inquisition. Let's play max 1 Veil of Summer. I guess max 1 Spellbomb is fine too. Like, we gotta respect their Soul Sisters game more than the Lingering Souls game and the Stoneforge game as well, arguably. They're both more important than the Souls. Especially because now we have Plague Men to beat the Souls as well as the Sisters. So, 2 cards to cut. I might just cut down to 2 Inquisition. I honestly think that's completely fine. Then, I think I still like leaving in 2 Lily on the play. I'll just trim a Thought Scour. You know what? Nah, let's play without the Veil of Summer. We don't want Veil Rotting in hand. And we'll see a little bit more from their deck, right? Like, if they're gearing up for attrition, they might be cutting discard spells too. And again, they are base white. And we didn't even see discard. This is a fine hand, we'll keep it. The mana functions, but in a really awkward way. To the point where we want to lead on Tar Pit. Push their turn 1 play. If they have one. They don't have one, eh? Interesting. Okay, time for Scoos, which I think I'd rather lead on the first Scoos than the only Goyf right here. If it gets Fatal Pushed, so be it. Which is what I would expect if they have anything. But they don't. Flagstones of Trocare. Yikes, are they packing Smallpox too? That would be really scary, especially for next game. But how much can you really be packing? Can you really include Lingering Souls and Stoneblade and Smallpox along the Soul Sisters package? I really don't think so, but I could be wrong. Alright, we're going to push here. Gonna get a Goyf down. Alright, well, we're not really drawing our, X for ones, we're just kind of drawing threats and lands and a single fatal push. So, with them having this sort of Light and Shadow, that's a bit of a disaster if they're able to stabilize. And if we keep breaking. It really seems unlikely. Our 60 is so favored, I would say, post-side against this deck. It may be the best they can do here is a Lingering Souls, which is a good card against us. But, no, they're going to push. Okay. Push into Bitter Blossom. Okay, that's another reason to want Plague Man. We find Uro. Haha. Uro, I knew you were still in the deck, buddy. I knew it. We were a little shy when we needed you against Bant. Maybe that's not true. Maybe we saw 2 Uro. I can't remember. I can't remember these things. I guess we're supposed to just play both of these and get another Scooze down this turn. It might not seem necessary to Affection Shock there, and maybe it wasn't, but I want to be able to cash in Peatland and still have good Uro mana for escaping him. Bitter Blossom's pretty good with the equipment, though. I think Bitter Blossom's kind of a really clunky card, actually, but, over the course of a couple turns, if we're lacking answers, is when it gets really rough. Auric Champion, Fairy Rogue. Alright. We could crack Peatland, and then if we draw a land off of it, we can escape the Uro. We did. So we'll attack first, see what they've got here. They've got nothing. We're probably supposed to get Uro back. Seems really good. We get to make yet another land drop off of this. We have to have a gigantic board. Yes, they're gaining life off Auric Champion, and they'll stay neutral on life with Fairy Rogue entering off Bitter Blossom next turn. They have a path. They were very disciplined with the path. Okay. Okay, finding another tapped land off of the, off of what's his name is no good. But hey. They play Lingering Souls. And their attack. Oh, I don't think that's a good attack personally, but I'm glad they did it. Give me a Plague Man. Give me a Plague Man. They give us a Tarmogoyf, huh? Well, we gotta eat the back half of souls. If they triple block, we can eat the Stoneforge and drown a token. I don't know if that'll be correct, but we can do it. Might be better to just let them have the trade, honestly. Not sure. Yeah, I think this is fine. It's worse if they have more removal, right? But if they don't have more removal, if they're just trying to set up like a survivable board state, this is better. Actually, you know what? We can... No, we can't. Yeah, that's right. Okay. I knew that, and then I forgot it. I was going to say we can drown the Auric Champion, but protection from black. And I think overall this is pretty reasonable, but certainly some things were debatable. Our lack of green mana is not ideal here, but I like holding up Drown in the Loch as a counterspell. Okay, Flagstones, triggered ability. Followed by... an attack with a Fairy Rogue. Man, this is tough. I think I'm passing, but obviously creeping tar pits give us big incentive not to pass, but of course we are just bricking with more Darkslick Shores, which really couldn't be worse than those draws. Right? Like, really couldn't be worse. I'm shipping all in. Gonna counter a removal spell. And eat our other Scoos with this Scoos, potentially, depending on what happens. Okay. This is fine. Well, we're going to fight over this. And now I think it's correct to eat the Ooze, put them to 3 in the face of a creeping tar pit. Now they might be able to play a creature and gain a life, but let's make them do it. They have a path too, really? Come on! Like, none of this should really be an issue, but again, we've just been bricking so hard that it has become one. They're just drawing, like, all the paths and pushes in their deck, it seems. Well, 2 of each. 2 of each is a lot in the early game, though. I have an Auric Champion. This is pretty gross. Pretty gross. Show me a Plague Engineer. Show me an X for 1. We've got a million of them in the deck. Collective Brutality. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright, I guess we're draining for 2 and killing a token. -2/-2, drain you for 2. All this pro-black crap. Very annoying. Boom, 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 boom. Put this Darkslick Shores to some use, right? Do. Why can I not tap the right way? Oh, I'm so tired. There we go. Now we did it. Now we did it. Third time, my friends, is the charm. Hopefully they don't have yet another removal spell. And they have to chump with this champion. They do. Nice. Okay. We've got double Tar Pit coming at them next turn. May it be sufficient. A land lets them play and equip Light It in the Shadow. Buy back something to the hand. Gain the life. Not enough. GG, well played. Yeah, I've been kind of complainy here. Nothing, obviously, against our opponent. They say GG as well. We'll say it right back. Good times. I'm a little more interested in the second Veil and the second Spellbomb on the draw. Also, putting another discard spell back in. These things are all live. I think now that we know they're on Bitter Blossom, I'm going to go down to 1 Liliana, maybe none. Just too bad in the face of the tokens. I'm going to go to no Lily. Seems fine. We've got a lot of other really good things to do. We might as well lower our curve if it's kind of 6-1, half dozen of the other otherwise. So let's put an Inquisition back in. I'm still kind of not sure about Veil of Summer, but I could see it as just a one-of. The blowout would be really nice. But again, they're not really showing me much besides X number of fatal pushes. So let's not play the potentially dead card. Let's be responsible. We'll play a second Nihil Spellbomb. But you know I want to. We've been blowing them out left, right, and center with Veil. But here's the opposite incentive of the Bant match, right? Because here I think we are favored, so we should do things with a higher floor, even if they have a lower ceiling. That is my perspective anyway, and we are playing in the third and final game of the league for the 4-1 with Urolgari, provided by Alan Lambert, and we're taking our millionth mulligan of the league. Please mulligan with us, opponent. It's only fair. They keep 7. This hand is so disgustingly good if it just functioned with lands. I'm tempted to keep on the back of Thought Scour, but again, because we're favored, I think we should do the responsible thing in mulligan. But if we were unfavored, maybe we take the risk on keeping. Okay, this hand's fine. It's pretty great, in fact. So great that I don't know what to bottom. Might be bottoming Snapcaster Mage here. I'm gonna. Hate to bottom the 2-for-1, but the rest of the hand, it all pairs really well together. Alright, draw a discard spell or a fatal push. We've drawn Drown in the Loch. Okay, so we'll see what they do here. Obviously, scouring them with Lingering Souls around is risky, but turning on Drown might be important enough that we do it. I think it's going to be. Because that's right now the only way we kill this SFM. They go get Light and Shadow again. Okay, Watery Grave. Scour you. We milled over some good cards, Fatal Push and Soul Warden. We found a second Uro, and we found a Plague Engineer. That's a good find. That's a good find. All right. Drown the SFM, pass the turn. see what the opponent has. We're going to have a good turn 3, kind of no matter what. Another Stoneforge Mystic. That's actually one of the things I didn't want to see. It's just another 2-for-1 that kind of forces us, I think, not to do anything great this turn. Collective Brutality, huh? We can check the hand pitching an Uro relatively freely, so I think I will. I think I'll do it that way. -2/-2, check the hand. Boom, boom. This lets us have perfect info for everything else as well. Hopefully we get like a push or a path out of the hand and Plague Man will rule the roost uncontested. They have an Ajani's Pridemate. Yeah, we'll take the path here. So Pridemate's something that Plague Man does not kill. And the equipment's an issue as the game goes along, which it is going to, obviously. But we have Uro. We have Uro. Uro is amazing. Uro can beat Batterskull. It can beat a lot of stuff. I think we have to play Plague Man here because we don't want them finding a land and equipping Sword. It does kind of look like they found another piece of removal, though, so that would really suck. But if they didn't, this is amazing. And even if they did, it's like a fine exchange in a vacuum. They found another path. Oh my god. Well, as I was going to say, even if they did, it's going to guarantee we escape the Uro, which I think is huge. So that's part of why I did it. We have 2 of every color right now, so what do we want the third color to be? Well, Forest, but we can't get that. So let's just get Swamp. No, sorry, we can't get Swamp. I'm so tired, I almost got the wrong land. We can get Forest then. Green, blue, blue, green, green. Sure. Okay, so that sucks. They had the path. And I think they shocked in, so we pretty much suspected it, but again, I think for every reason that I already said, I think that's a perfectly viable thing to do. Another Plague Man? Another Plague Man. Seems pretty good. Seems pretty good. But I think we should probably play Tarmogoyf here and hold up Drown in the Loch for a counter spell on whatever they cast. Or if they don't cast anything, or if we don't care to counter it, we can remove the Pridemate. I think we're supposed to double spell this turn. But the second Plague Man's looking pretty tasty. The Uro in the graveyard's looking pretty tasty. Opponent found a land, which is exactly why we wanted to hold up Drown in the Loch here. Because now we're countering whichever equipment they play. I'm a little more afraid of Light and Shadow than Batterskull, but I'll still counter Batterskull. I'll counter Light and Shadow for sure. You just grew the Goyf. Soul's coming across. We draw Scavenging Ooze. So they have instant land creature, so if we get rid of a sorcery, we will shrink the Goyf, otherwise we will not. So I guess we can do Uro main phase here. without losing anything directly from our onboard presence, if I'm not mistaken, which I might be, because I'm tired. We could have held this till our second main, because that bluffs us having a follow-up, but I don't really care. I'm playing tired, guys. What can I tell you? We got the Uro back. We got the Goyf still 5/6. We got another Uro in hand. Plague Engineer Scoos. The only, we just want to draw interaction, basically, from here on out, because our threats are amazing. Our threats are amazing indeed. I'm very glad, again, we answered the Sword. Batterskull, good though it is, does not stock up well at all to our onboard threats. OP with Heliod. How many things can they put in the deck? Heliod? I don't even really know what this does in the context of this deck. Just giving something lifelink. What am I missing here? Why wouldn't they give a spirit lifelink? We could play another Uro to try to find a kill spell, but no. No, we just attack. Opponent does not block. Okay. I don't know if I'm about to punt the game away because I don't know what the heck Heliod does in this deck right now. I guess we Inquisition. I don't think playing Bob or Scoos after Plague Man changes much, so sure, let's Inquisition. Lingering Souls. Alright, Plague Man naming Spirit looking even better. Opponents at 1. GG's, says opponent. Pretty spicy brew from OP, but somebody will have to fill me in on a Heliod. Maybe it's just kind of a value piece that can become, like, if they have good enough board state, indestructible. Whatever. Clearly I don't know what I'm talking about at this stage of the night. I'm pretty delirious. But guys, could it be closer to a 5-0? I don't really think so. So a great result for Urolgari. Pardon my inability to pronounce it. Like I said, the pun works better on paper than it does rolling off the tongue. But Urolgari, I've got some issues to figure out with my client coming back at us with the bug. Anyone have any insights on that, please do let me know. But I really hope you enjoyed this league. Urolgari performed about as well as we can imagine. It's possible that there are lines that I didn't see because I'm live recording, and it's possible that those were the key to victory in round 4. I don't know. Or maybe the clock would have been more in our favor in round 4, but they had the Jace ult that they were able to win. They didn't quite win through it, actually, did they? I think we won that stack war. That was so intense. My mind is, like, fried from all this. Again, playing it immediately when I get home from a really long day at work, and it's pretty late at night. So anyway, guys, that's all I got for you. Urolgari seems really, really strong. I hope you liked it, my friend Alan Lambert, the donor who earned the donation league and who lent the Uros to the Grimflayer. I appreciate you, my friend. Hope everyone else out there enjoyed this as well. You can see the power of Uro in this green-black rock shell. There's no question about it. Yeah, I just wish round 4 had been a little bit less of a down to the mat, down to the wire moment when I'm not at my peak. But I right now, with very imperfect insight on it all, I don't feel like our play is what lost us the game. I feel like their top deck of Jace is what won them the game. But as always, I could be missing something. I'm sure y'all will let me know in the comment section, and I hope you guys all out there, besides Alan, I know Alan liked this one. I know we saw exactly what we had in mind get executed here. So I know you liked it. Hope everyone else out there liked it too. And if you are interested in maybe getting some blue into your life, if you're a BGX player, obviously Uro's a hot commodity. He's expensive, and all the rest. But if you think it's a good investment, if you happen to own him, but you're not so much in love with the snow sub-theme and the more controlling style of play, this might really have potential. I think it does. I think it's really coherent. I think it's really clean, and I think it's really strong. We saw how busted Uro was. We also saw how busted Veil of Summer was. Snapcaster Mage is, makes Veil that much better. Thought Scour enables all of the blue cards. There's a lot to like. And as we know, there's a lot to like about the green-black core. So anyway, I'll stop, and I gotta go try to relax and somehow get to bed after this thrill ride. But anyway, hope you guys liked it. In the description, if you are enjoying this content, you can earn donation leagues just like this one by signing up for Patreon, and that's also the best way to support me. I kind of have nothing else in my life as far as free time goes right now besides work, family, and the channel, and I can't necessarily keep that up forever without something changing, unless the price is right, unless I'm getting the support that I currently am, and I truly thank everybody doing that from the bottom of my heart. But if you're not among the patrons, you get access to the Discord, which is pretty cool perk for my people, and you get to give back to the content that you hopefully love. Anyway, guys, I gotta call it a night. I will talk to you soon, and I will see you for the next video. Hope everybody out there has a wonderful night, and I will see you soon.